Good morning, Veritas scientists. Today is Friday, May 8th, 2020. I'm down Cape Cod. I'll be making some videos later on. I have a special guest. My best friend Chris is very excited to be part of our video later. So you'll probably see his face. That is exciting for me too. But he's excited. We're going to get together and we're going to talk about what we're going to teach you guys later on today. All right, so number 1 says choose any animal and draw a diagram of its life cycle. You must label the 4 stages. That's the assignment for today, just to give you a heads up about what we're going to be doing. But let's go back to yesterday's assignment from Thursday, May 7th. It says there are 4 stages of the life cycle for all animals, but the stages vary a lot between different species. The 4 stages are birth, growth, reproduction, and death. Draw 2 diagrams. One for the life cycle of a bear, which I'll talk about in a minute, and one for the life cycle of a snake, which I'll talk about in a minute. You must label the 4 stages. Okay, so let's go through this. Like I said, all animals, even when we talked about metamorphosis, insects and amphibians, some amphibians go through metamorphosis. That's not a typical life cycle, but even these animals go through birth, growth, reproduction, they reproduce when they're adults, and then death, right? So even those animals that go through metamorphosis, which is not a typical life cycle, they still go through these 4 stages, okay? But different animals have different parts of these stages, which we'll talk about. So they vary a little bit, but they all go through these same 4 stages. So look at my diagram for a bear. I'm not the best artist, but I did my best. Okay, so it says you must label the 4 stages. So birth, growth, reproduction, and death are labeled. So birth, here's my little cub. Then the cub grows, and it grows into an adult bear. Then the adult bear reproduces. That means they have offspring or children. So this bear is going to have more cubs, okay? Then the adult bear is going to die, okay? Death is the last part, RIP. That's a dead adult bear, okay? So then these cubs were born, and then they're going to go through that same life cycle. They're going to grow into adult bears. They're going to reproduce and have babies or cubs, and then they are going to die, right? Not the cubs aren't going to die. The cubs are then going to start at number 1, and they were born, then they're going to grow, then they're going to reproduce, and then the adults are then eventually going to die, and then their cubs will grow and then reproduce, and then those cubs will die, and their cubs will be born, grow, reproduce, and die. So it's this cycle that continues to happen like this. Okay, so what's interesting here is bears in almost all mammals, except for we learned about platypuses the other day that lay eggs. And there's one other type, I forget how to say it. It's called like Anechia or Echenia or something like that. I wasn't quite sure how to pronounce it, but there's only 2 types of mammals that lay eggs. Most mammals like bears, squirrels, dogs, cats, humans, we give live birth, right? We have a child that is born live without an egg. So that's where one of these it says that these stages vary a lot between species, because bears and other mammals, almost all of us, have birth to a live baby. Where, here's an example of an animal that's a little different, but it still goes through these 4 stages of the life cycle. So snake gives birth to eggs. Just like birds, they give birth to eggs. So that's a little different than giving birth to a live animal. So the snake starts with birth. There's its egg. The egg hatches, and you have a baby snake. Then the baby snake grows into an adult snake. Then that snake will reproduce. It will lay eggs. And then the adult snake is going to die. And then those eggs are going to be born again. They will grow. They will have eggs of their own, and then they will die. Those eggs will be born, they will grow, they will reproduce and lay more eggs, and then they will die. So all snakes go through this same life cycle. The only difference between the bear and the snake was that the bear was born live, and the snake was an egg that eventually hatched into a baby snake. All right, so now what I want you to do for tomorrow is I want you to choose any animal that you want and draw a diagram of its life cycle. You must label the 4 stages. So the 4 stages, as a review, are birth, growth, reproduction, and death. And your job is to be able to choose an animal, draw yourself some pictures. They don't have to be great. They're like kind of like mine, right? Not great. Just do your best, and make sure you label those 4 stages and show a diagram similar to these ones. All right, so I'm excited to see what animals you choose, and we will talk on Monday about the one. I will choose one myself and show you those 4 stages, and then we will continue learning about life cycles. All right, there are these fish that are running right now. They're called anadromous fish, which we will talk about next week. They basically are born in a pond, in a freshwater pond, and then they travel downstream and go and live their life out in the ocean, and then they come back to reproduce up in the pond again. So what's really cool is right now in May, as it's happening, they're called heron. That's the name of the fish. They are actually traveling upstream, so they're fighting against the current, and they're traveling upstream to go and lay their eggs up in the pond. So I'm gonna go see if I can find some of those, and that would be a cool video to show you guys. But we'll talk about that a little bit next week. All right, hope everybody has a great day, have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.